Okay, thank you for joining us for another review by Mark's Angry Review. In this one, we're going to be talking about Death Knight. What's the deal? Good, bad, dreadful, horrible? Um, it's kind of mixed. Spoiler alert. He's a little here, he's a little there. IGG like to use him as like their face of the game. He's not all that he's cranked up to be. In fact, he's more or less a disaster. But for free-to-play players, I mean, sometimes there's just no choice. Um, and for that reason, I mean, I guess he's not dreadful. Um, alright, let me tell you more about him. Firstly, his backstory is just super weird. I don't know why IGG do this. They have these little weird things over here. Either don't give us a background or actually develop it up. Most of the people that are playing this game love fantasy, which means you have an audience. If you actually made the story great, and you made maybe little tidbits about, the HP and attack, little parts of the story that connect, people would love it. And if I don't know why they don't bother. They spent all this money on animation, which is good and all, but the backstory, I mean, it looks like it's written by a 3-year-old. Go figure. Anyway, enough of that. If you read my blog ever, I'll put the article into my blog. I always talk about it. It really annoys me. They don't put any time and energy into it. Anyway, how to unlock him. Some of you are going to be beginner players, so just a quick, rundown of how to actually unlock him, because you've probably seen um, information about him, and you're wondering, okay, well, how to actually unlock him? There you go. This is how you unlock him. The the lineup is the Prima Donna, the Scarlet Bolt, Oathkeeper, Night Raven, and Tracker. I'll put the lineup into the description below, and also put the link so you can see more information about, how to each stage of the 3 stages, how to unlock. I'm not going to run through it now. It's boring for most people that already done this years ago. Okay, the Death Knight in battle. That's what most of you care about, so I get lots of questions about. So let's talk about it. Here's the interesting thing. He's dreadful. Usually, I would say keep a mile away from him. He's a horrible. He doesn't even have an attack boost. Never touch a hero that doesn't have an attack boost. Attack without a HP and defense, that's fantastic. An attack with a defense and an HP, incredible. But these two, or just a defense by itself, I mean, it's rather pathetic. I would never go near a battle hero that doesn't have an attack. But here's where it gets interesting. There aren't many free-to-play cav heroes, which means you might have no choice. If you're purely free-to-play, and you're doing a pure attack with cavalry. It's not like mix. If it's mixed, then, you could use, the Night Raven, Child of Light, and, a few free-to-play range heroes. But if you're just using cavalry, you might have no choice but to use them. Here's the way it works. Rose Knight is a cavalry hero, really good. Night Raven, really good, cav hero. Child of Light, really good. Bombin Goblin is a good army attack. And if you're just going pure cavalry, you're going to have no choice but to use Death Knights. Of course, if you pay to play, well then it's super easy. There are loads of good pay to play cavalry heroes, and there's good cavalry army heroes. I actually have 2 of them. Stormfox, really popular. Lore Weaver, one of the best heroes in Lord's Mobile by a long shot. So unfortunately, you might have no choice but to actually use Death Knight in your actual battles. But if you could help it, just because Death Knight looks cool doesn't mean he is cool. If you just need to pick 2 heroes, of course, you're going to use Rose Knight or Night Raven or Child of Light. Don't even go near Death Knight. He's a complete waste of time. Now in the Colosseum, what's the deal with him in the Colosseum? Here's the thing. He is a bad hero. I can't say this enough. He's a really, really bad hero. You don't want to use him. In fact, I see people all the time using him thinking he's some great hero. Well, God, there we go. Well, this person's not using it, but, let's just go around. I see him all the time. Okay, this lineup's not using him, but everyone uses him all the time thinking he's good. He's never good. Never, ever put him on your defensive formation. That is the craziest thing you could do. The only time when he's good is if you see a lineup that has no healers, like this one, but actually not guard, but actually powerful lineup. He's very good at holding his ranks. He's not a good attacker in the Colosseum. He's not good at anything. But if you put a few tanks, he's a good one to use while you slowly just tear apart the enemy who was stupid enough to not put a healer into the defensive formation. Always put a healer in the defensive formation. So in general for the Colosseum, don't use him. Every once in a while he has his uses. Um, the challenges with the Death Knight, he's pretty good. You know, the challenge is coming up tomorrow. Where is it? Here we are. You know, this is a limited challenge, and also the challenges over here. Sometimes the Death Knight is actually quite good for it. It's all rather automated, so the Death Knight he's just a good coverall. He's a tank, he regenerates. You know, if you have a healer there, your Prima Donna, you have Law Weaver, usually by the time he gets low, they're able to recharge him. He's good for challenges, but he's not good for the Colosseum. Monster hunting, surprisingly for some level 5s and level 4s, he actually is good. Check out my website, I have a list of all the different heroes you should be using for monster heroes. Don't just send anyone. Don't be a moron. Um, he's sometimes a higher level monster. Sometimes he's actually a really good option. But in general, he's not good for monster hunting at all. He doesn't really fit into any other magical or attack. He's a tank. He's rather awkward. But for the big ones, he's good. In short, he's essential for the beginner players. But once you start getting good, you're going to hardly use him for anything. Which means if you're P to play, you're not going to use him for any battles. You've got to be nuts to use him. And there are so many better heroes. There's hardly anything that he does that other heroes can't do better. Um, so it ends up being that he looks really cool, and IGG continue to make him seem like the antagonist of the story, which is so weird because somehow when you start playing, you realize that makes no sense because they're all your heroes. But yeah, go figure. Um, all in all, Death Knight is a horrible hero. Um, use him if you have to, but other than that, don't go near him. Follow my Twitter if you want, or don't. I couldn't really care less. Check out my website, or don't.